Ends with Adele in Vegas. Now you have the opportunity to see the singer on stage, when and where the Grammy Award-winning artist will start her Vegas residency. And 3 thrill seekers rescued from a rock perch in Zion National Park. One of the victims declared dead after being lowered to the ground. ABC4 News shows you where it happened and gives you the latest on the investigation.
Live, we're there for you. ABC4 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here this evening. One man is dead and 2 others rescued while canyoneering at Zion National Park over Thanksgiving weekend. First responders say they found the group stranded nearly 300 feet above Heaps Canyon. The victim who died was still suspended from a rope. Investigators are working to figure out what caused that victim's death. ABC4's Southern Utah correspondent Jordan Verdadero went along with a canyoneering expert to find out the dangers and safety tips you need to know when exploring outdoors.
I just completed Lamb's Knoll and I'm with Guru Stu, a canyoneering expert based out of Springdale. He says this is considered one of the beginner trails and I struggled. That incident that left 1 man dead, he was in a canyon that's more for experts and it requires a great deal of technical and physical ability. This is Guru Stu, a guide through slot canyons. Over Thanksgiving weekend, 3 people went canyoneering at Heaps Canyon in Zion National Park, but only 2 made it back.
You want to know, physically speaking, what kind of stamina does the group have? You want to know, mentally speaking, how well can people pay attention to each other? You want to know, socially, how do people get along? And how do they help out each other?
Zion National Park officials say the group navigating Heaps Canyon had difficulty getting through the last few rappels in the canyon.
A lot of backcountry route finding. It involves multi-pitch rappels, and it involves a physical stamina. You need a very good, solid 7 hours of being able to move your body and still be able to function logically.
Guru Stu says Heaps Canyon is one of the most challenging in the park. He believes stress, anxiety, and exhaustion are reasons expeditions go wrong.
What makes canyoneering such a strong sport is the amount of care that you have to give to everybody in the group. And unfortunately, when those systems of caring aren't in check, that's when it gets very dangerous.
He says patience and communication with a group is essential.
Rather than leap in and expect that you're going to be able to max out on your mileage, max out on the number of rappels that you're going to do, max out on your route finding in your expedition, you want to just take a couple little bites.
And recreators should contact a professional before venturing out and do extensive research before an expedition. Reporting in Springdale, Jordan Verdadero, ABC4 News.
In developing news tonight, UHP troopers looking for a suspect they say shot at a number of cars on I-15 in central Utah this morning. 4 cars were shot between Nephi and Scipio. We're told 2 drivers were hit and have non-life-threatening injuries. The suspected shooter is believed to be driving a light-colored Jeep Cherokee. Police say they are doing all they can to keep the public safe.
We want the public to be safe. We are putting extra patrols out there throughout in that area throughout the night tonight, just to give an extra police presence to be able to respond to any incidents, but also to help keep the public safe.
Troopers say drivers should be cautious and report anything suspicious to the Highway Patrol. We have the number for you there on the screen.
Well, a deadly motorcycle accident in Logan this morning. The accident happened near 1700 West and 200 South. Logan police believe the motorcyclist was trying to make a turn with the curve of the road but lost control and crashed into a marshy area. Investigators say they think speed could be a factor in that crash.
The Provo Police Department welcoming a new chief. Today, the city naming Fred Ross to the role. He will replace interim Chief John Geierman. Chief Ross most recently serving as chief of the UTA Police Department. He says he's honored to hold this new position and looks forward to working with the community.
All right, time now for our first look at the forecast on this Tuesday.
Meteorologist Cesar Cornejo standing by, tracking all the details for us tonight.
Well, we continue to see those mild temperatures and inversion still hanging here over parts of the Salt Lake Valley. Chris Williams took a picture of this gorgeous sunset, but terrible inversion that still hangs around over top of us. We've seen it for the past few days, and that's really impacted air quality. We continue to even see here live in downtown Salt Lake through our doTERRA camera, not seeing much in the way of any kind of relief from this just smoggy, gross air. And Unfortunately, we're not looking at it to get any better until at least next week, and I'll explain more of that coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast. But temperatures today were a bit on the warmer side, 50 degrees in Salt Lake City. We saw 50s and even some 60s in parts of southern Utah. We also had 50s as well in eastern Nevada. But if you're looking to walk the dog tonight, well, you may need a little bit of a sweater, but it's not going to be too overall cold as we slowly drop down into the upper 30s by the time we get into the overnight hours. Again, not terrible of a day, and as we continue into tomorrow, poor air quality is expected, and I'll explain more of what we can expect to finally bust out of this inversion coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast.
All right, thank you, Caesar. Well, during the holidays, Utah health officials say they see an increase in demand for addiction-related services. Ogden regional health officials say Ogden has one of the highest levels of overdose in the state, adding that one of the most important steps in helping someone who is recovering is to help them overcome the stigma surrounding addiction.
There's often a lot of guilt. There's often a lot of shame, both with family members and with the patient. But we try to let them know and teach them that we're always glad to see them.
Health officials say family members should pay attention to any changes in someone's normal behavior if they're in recovery, which could be a signal of a relapse, and encourage them to get help.
Now to the coronavirus pandemic and the concern over the Omicron variant. President Biden speaking to the nation Monday, saying it's a cause for concern, but not to panic, especially urging Americans to get vaccinated. Today, health experts are saying it may take weeks to fully understand the Omicron variant and its potential spread. ABC's Ike Jachi has the latest tonight from Washington.
The nation's top health experts are doubling down, saying now is not the time to panic about the Omicron variant.
This new variant is a cause for concern, but not panic.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says the new variant is indeed spreading across the globe. Tuesday, it's been detected in at least 20 countries, a number he says will likely grow.
This is not Delta. It's something different. And these mutations have been associated with increased transmissibility.
But scientists say the vaccines and booster shots are efficient in offering protection against this new variant. It triggers something in our bodies called a polyclonal response, which means the vaccine will instruct the body to make antibodies that block the entry of the virus into cells. The CDC expanding its recommendations for getting a booster shot. The agency now says everyone 18 and older should get a booster 6 months after their second dose of Pfizer or Moderna, or 2 months after their Johnson & Johnson single-shot vaccines.
We don't know everything we need to know yet about the Omicron variant, but we know that vaccination is a safe and effective way to protect yourself.
The president promising all 3 vaccine makers are preparing to update their vaccines to accommodate the Omicron variant if necessary. ABC News learning that in the coming days, Pfizer plans to ask the FDA to expand access to its booster to include 16 and 17-year-olds. But with hospitalizations climbing more than 20% across the country, communities around the nation are preparing for the worst. In New York City, a successful mobile vaccination campaign is being reintroduced to hundreds of schools across the city. This time, they're doing second doses.
We were kind of in a strange limbo where adults were vaccinated, but the kids weren't, so it's nice to finally get them vaccinated as well.
Right now, there are 100 million adults eligible for the COVID vaccine who haven't yet gotten the shot. Ike Jachi, ABC News, Washington.
All right, thank you, Ike. Well, tonight at 10, a lawsuit against President Biden's vaccine mandate for companies that have more than 100 employees has been filed here in Utah. ABC4's Courtney Johns joining us live with more on that lawsuit. Courtney?
Yeah, Emily, this lawsuit is different than the one the state of Utah filed against the mandate. This one is filed in the United States District Court, and it involves around 25,000 railroad workers who are members of a union. That union is called the Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division International Brotherhood of Teamsters. The suit claims the mandate flies in the face of the constitutional structure of our nation by allowing the federal government to issue this rule. We asked the attorneys representing this union why they chose to file this lawsuit here in Utah. Here's what they said.
Of all the states that I have spent some time in and worked in, Utahns tend to be people more attuned to the concept of individual freedom, partially because that's how the state was founded.
The attorneys argue that the state, not the federal government, has the authority to do something like this. And on that same note, they say this lawsuit has very little to do with the vaccine and everything to do with how decisions are made. And if this is allowed, that it could set a very dangerous precedent. Back to you.
Thank you, Courtney. Still ahead, the U.S. government set to shut down this Friday at midnight. Will lawmakers come up with a solution to keep that from happening? The latest from Washington.
Plus, Utah and Oregon